Hello and welcome to our mini lectures on the verbal codes and the use of them in intercultural context. This video is brought to you by the University of Languages and International Studies. I hope you will find the lesson useful for your job and studies. So let us begin. This lesson will deal with the question, what are the components and characteristics of verbal codes? In the first part, we will explore the 5 components of verbal codes. But before looking into these components, we need to understand what verbal codes are. Verbal codes refer to the spoken or written language, and it comprises a set of rules governing the use of words in creating a message. Along with the words themselves, the set of rules varies in each nation and territory. However, its mutual purpose is for humans to easily express their thoughts, emotions, desires, and needs. For example, if we want to describe a house in English, we use a large house, the structure of which is article plus adjective plus noun, whereas to express the same ideas in Vietnamese, we use một ngôi nhà rộng, the arrangement of which is quantifiers plus noun plus adjective. So, as you can see, we want to express the same ideas, but the set of rules in each language governs the word differently. Verbal codes include 5 components: phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics, in correspondence with 3 main aspects of the language system: sound, structures, and meanings. Collectively, knowledge of each aspect of the language system provides us with a holistic understanding of the nature of human language. The first verbal code is phonology. Phonology explores how sounds are organized in a language. The smallest sound unit of a language is called a phoneme. In the International Phonetic Alphabet, we have some vowel sounds like e, a, and some consonant sounds like p, f, m. The phonological rules of a language determines how sounds are combined to form words. For example, the phonemes k and l can be arranged to form the word cow in English. Mastery of any language requires the speaker to be able to identify and pronounce different sounds accurately. This may prove difficult for second language speakers, particularly those whose native language does not have a similar sound system to the new language. The second component is morphology, which refers to the combination of basic units of meanings, morphemes, to create words. For example, the word kind consists of 1 morpheme. The word unkindness contains 3 morphemes, kind and the prefix un meaning not, or the opposite. The suffix needs transform it into a noun. Used together, they refer to a personality of not being good. Morphemes and the ways in which they are combined differs across cultures. In the English language, prefixes or suffixes constitute morphemes as well as individual words, whereas in tonal language such as Vietnamese, tones are morphemes and the meanings of units depends on the tone which the word is pronounced. For examples, we have 6 words: tai, 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 hold entirely different meanings. Tais mean an ear, tai mean talented, tais mean raw, not fully cooked, tais mean a bag, tais mean distribute something, and tais means because. The third component is syntax. It concerns the grammatical and structural rules of language. We combine words into sentences. According to grammatical rules, in order to communicate. In English and other languages of Indo-European family, people change the tense of a verb by adding suffix or prefix or changing the morpheme to describe past, present, and future events. In Vietnamese, we add đã, đang, sẽ to express the time frame for an action. So now let's look at the sample sentence. The boys and the girl ate the tea, and the word order to form a meaningful sentence in English. The determiners the precedes noun, and noun phrase precedes verb phrase. However, in Japanese, the noun otokonoko precedes determiner to, and the verb tabemashita is put at the end of a sentence. Every language has a set of grammatical rules that governs the sequencing of words. Mastery of another language means knowing those grammatical rules in addition to building a stock of vocabulary. The fourth component is semantics, which refers to the study of the meanings of words and the relationship between words and the things to which they refer. A command of vocabulary is an essential part of linguistics proficiency in any language. When we learn a second language, we devote much time to memorize words and their meanings, concrete or abstract. However, just memorizing words and their dictionary meanings is often insufficient for successful intercultural communication because meanings often reside in a context. For example, the term dog refers to an animal that has 4 legs, but its image varies in the perception of each person. Regarding the semantics, every word holds 2 types of meaning, denotative and connotative. Denotation refers to a literal meaning of a word or an object and is basically descriptive. This is the kind of meaning we find in a dictionary. For example, a denotative description of a Big Mac would be that it is a sandwich sold by McDonald's that weighs a certain number of grams and is served with certain sauces. Connotations deal with the cultural meaning that becomes attached to a word or an object. The connotative meanings of a Big Mac may include certain aspects of American culture, fast food, popular food, standardization, lack of time, lack of interest in cooking. Because connotative meanings are often emotionally charged, we may make mistakes about the messages we think they are sending to others. And the last component is pragmatics. It is concerned with the impact of language on human perception and behavior. It focuses on how the language is used in a social context. Pragmatics analysis of language goes beyond its structural features and concentrates on the social and cultural appropriateness of language use in a particular context. For example, the traffic light in syntax is just the presentation of 3 colors, red, yellow, and green. In semantics, green means that the drivers could go. Red means they have to stop. But in pragmatics, if red and no traffic, so then it's allowed to go. These terms of communication style, the low context cultures like US, Canada, and Netherlands allows communicators express their ideas directly. On the other hand, in some cultures with the high context like China, Japan, India, and Vietnam, people are encouraged to use the indirect way to negotiate meaning. Now, to be more specific, let's imagine that you are invited to a housewarming party, but you couldn't come. How would you refuse the invitation? In the American communication style, people often choose to refuse directly. For example, "I'm sorry I couldn't come." But in Vietnamese, people often choose not to say no immediately. They may say, "Perhaps I have to do some family stuff this time," as a way of refusing the invitation. Now, let's move to the second part of the lesson today with some characteristics of verbal codes. Although languages differ, there are some characteristics shared by all of them. Professor Newleaf identified 5 common characteristics. The first one, all languages have some ways of naming objects, places, or things, like cat, skate, and memory game, for example. The second characteristic is all languages have a way of naming actions, like eat, sleep, or run. The third characteristic is all languages have a way of stating the negative, constructing interrogative, and differentiating between singulars and plurals, like the examples with "I have done the homework," "I haven't done homework," and "Have you done homework?" The next characteristic is that all languages have a systematic set of sounds combined with a set of rules for the sole purpose of creating meanings and communicating, with no natural or inherent relationship between the sounds and their accompanying alphabet. And the last one, all languages have a set of formal grammatical rules for combining sounds and sequencing words to create meanings. So this is the end of our lesson. I hope that you will have a basic understanding on 5 components of verbal codes and its characteristics. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.